brothers and sisters. Glad to be back. And trying to get used to these search engines where I can be able to put the information in front of us. I think I got enough links now in one area where I can, if I put this particular link in here, with this particular link, I won't have to wait, I guess, to put the other links in there or whatnot. So I'm going to put that in here, right? And say support us, right? And you know that we have books too. We have books. We have books on everything that we cover. So there are books that have all that information just in case. Should put on here, support our channel, shouldn't I? Be sure to tell some other people to chime in, brothers and sisters. Tell them to like and subscribe. Tell them to like and subscribe on this channel. That'd be very good because we can use that. Brothers and sisters to subscribe on the channel. And they'll be able to network with us. And you can set up businesses too. Set up businesses. Do for self. Remember that? A do for self mentality. Do for self mentality. So I'm excited, thankful to be in front of you. And we're going to wait, take our time for other people to come in because we know we'll be coming back. We just want to make sure that people know that we're out here. So Black Nationals Network has us doing these doing the marathon. So we'll do this marathon to be able to give you a treat and also be here. So we're going to wait, brothers and sisters, wait for the other people to get on here. So we got our introduction going, but we'll be reading from the book now. We'll be reading from the book. And I believe that LA at this point should be able to reach us. We're on Eastern time. I believe they're about two hours, maybe 3 hours behind. I think 3 hours behind. So we'll be able to should be able to chime in with them, or they should be able to chime in with us, so that we could be successful in putting over this information. We put this information in, brothers and sisters, because we know that nobody's going to get it if we don't put it out. It's time for us to do some black cleansing within the black community. It's our time. We got to do some self-cleaning within the community. And we're going to go to the book as well. I'm going to put up the link to the book so that you're able to get it. We have a lot of things to talk about tonight to tie it in. And the good thing about the internet and what Allah is allowed to happen is that it will be there, right? And there's always a chance to bring it back, right? If we lose some information, right? And it's another great place for us to get together. Another great place for us to get together. God is moving, brothers and sisters, in such a way. There's nothing that is covered or hid that shall not be brought back or brought up. Is that right? Everything that's in the deep or everything that's covered will be brought out of the deep. So this book that we have is a great book because it talks about and answers all the questions that you would have. Questions that you're not allowed to ask in the open. This book, or these books, will certainly allow us to put that information in front of you. So we have who killed Minister Malcolm X and why was he killed. That's an important information. Very important information. We've written a book that covers all of it. We want you to have the book. We want you to have the book. Like we having a slight problem getting in this site, which is not uncommon. It's not uncommon because we know that we're going to have problems with these sites when we try to get in them. Not the first, it won't be the last. Don't look like we're going to be able to get into the site. Sign in. We're trying. Don't look like we're going to be able to get into it. So that's okay that we have enough in the book to talk about it in other areas. So. Try to bring it up some other way so we could be able to discuss the things that we have. We can bring it up on these smaller pads. Excuse me, brothers and sisters. I know you understand. All right. So we're still talking about the blood contract of Minister Malcolm X. Blood contract. Excuse me very much. And we have the book. We should be looking at this book. All right. We have the book and we should be looking at this book. Bring it up so that we can talk about certain facts in it. You can get this book that lines it all out. We've been working on it for years, and it'll line everything out. Every question that you have. Excuse me, brothers and sisters. We're going to get through this. Every question that you have, it'll line it out. I'm encouraged. I got my tissue beside me, and I'm going to sneeze and clean the snout, and we're going to continue to go. So we'll bring up the documents. You can have these same documents. All you have to do is write into us, and we'll get them to you. We're discussing this blood contract on our black leaders. Our subject that we're starting from is Minister Malcolm X. There's a reason for that, because I started with him, as you know, about a year ago. Then we had rather 2 years ago, we had the assassination of Sister Ava Muhammad, Sister Minister Ava Muhammad, and we out of respect covered that and gave a talking just about that, which we're going to cover her again later in the series. We're going to cover Sister Ava Muhammad later in the series again. But this, who killed Minister Malcolm X? Why was he killed? We talk about that, which happens, which was written after a book called Blood Brothers. And we have to understand what the plan is. The plan is to keep you docile. You won't stay docile. You won't stay docile if you don't have a leader to rile you up. If you have a leader to rile you up, you won't stay docile. So the whole thing is to have a leader, right, that is not going to rile you up. We have another book talk about the killing of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, killing the messenger. Oh yes, we've done our work. We've done our work, and so that we can be able to put this information out to you. It's important that you have the right information, brother and sister. It's important that you have the right information. You know, and the reason this information is kept away from you is so that you won't get riled up, because the minute they know the truth, when you get the truth, there's nothing they can do. What did Jeremiah say? Jeremiah the prophet, didn't he say that the truth is like fire shut up within my bones? That's what he said. He said he couldn't close his mouth. The truth was that good, because there's deliverance in the truth for our people. There's deliverance in the truth for our people. That's the reason why. So we've got to, and no matter what the obstacle is in front of us, no matter what it is, we've got to be steadfast. I've said this enough times, so I know you can help me repeat it. Unmovable, always abounding in the work of God, right? Always abounding in the work of God. So we've got to find ourselves working continuously. We got to find ourselves working. Now, brother and sister, where we left off is talking about agents within the nation. And I know somebody said, well, why is he always talking about agents within the nation? I talk about agents within the nation because the Nation of Islam was and is the strongest organized black group that can literally bring freedom, justice, and equality to black people. As a black organization, could literally bring freedom, justice, and equality to us, literally, overnight. If many of us knew we were black. There's so many of us that don't know that we're black. So many of us that don't know or won't accept that our ancestral home is Africa. So many of us that won't accept it. We won't accept that. For whatever reason. I don't know what the reason is. But we won't accept it. And by not getting in touch with who we are, we do ourselves damage to the history of our ancestors and the work of our ancestors. You can't hate a tree without hating the roots of a tree. And you can't love a tree without loving the roots of a tree. And the roots of Africa is you. Everything we discuss goes back to who you are, who you and I are, how we got here, what's happened to us since we got here, and how we're going to get out. Excuse me, brothers and sisters. We're family. I can blow my nose in front of you because we're family. All right. Now let's get down to the nitty gritty. For the reason that we're here, there are blood contracts on us. These things had to be created. You with me? The blood contracts had to be created. Right? To make sure everything is in here, everything is tucked in. It had to be created. You have to understand that. And there was a reason why you and I were separated and are separated amongst each other. We were separated nationally. We were first separated tribally, then locally. Or rather locally, then tribally, then nationally. Right? And then diasporically, and then internationally. Right? And that's important that we know that. Because if you can stop us from communicating, we can't plan. That's the thing. Stop them from communicating, they're not able to plan. And that's what we need to understand. We need to understand that there's something going on within the international community now. There's something going on that spells danger for the international community. Why are we talking national, international community? Because in doing that, then we understand Malcolm X. We'll understand Malcolm X. You don't understand Malcolm X if you're not talking about the national and international implications of his death. And because their fear of what would happen if he lived. Here, the one person that had united Africa, the Africans of Africa and the Africans of Africa America, right? The Africans of Africa and the Africans of Afro-America. And I say that for a reason. Afro-America. Because it attaches us back to Africa. In other words, it put us back with our own people. Put you and I back with our own people. And that's important. It's important because part of the separation was making us believe that we're somehow different. The same thing that happened to the Africans there happened to us here. This is one of the main things that Malcolm was talking about. Not just after he left the nation. He was talking about that within the nation. He was talking about nationalism within the nation. Bringing people together through nationalism. He was talking about that. That's nothing new. But what happened is, we'll get anything that our problem is that we're poor researchers. So anything the white man put in front of us, we'll grab it, hold on to it. And we get emotional. We only pull it out when we get emotional. We don't pull it out as a result of research. We pull it out as a matter of emotionalism. We do it with all of our black leaders. We do it with all of our black leaders. If we will pull out the truth, we could straighten up a lot of sellouts in our community that the government has left here in front of us. And it's like, there's nothing in the teachings, message to the black man, that tells us to welcome the enemy into the camp. Because we already know what they'll do. Dylan Roof came in the church and killed 9 people. Had they had security, it would have never happened. It would have never happened. These are leaders. There was a pastor that was a senator. His life was sacrificed. And this Dylan Roof, I don't know what to call him. I know what I want to call him. But I get so much flack from you all, so I can't even say what they really are. But they took him and said he has a mental health problem. Every time one of us is killed. That's the answer. If a white person kills us. Now, when we killed by black people, our main problem is that it's all right because the person was black, unfortunately. And the day has to arrive in you that black death is unwelcome by any hand, whether it be black or white. That's the place that you and I have to get to. That's our liberation. We've got to get to that place. We've got to get there. My desire and my prayer is that we will in this day and time. That we'll get to this place and that we'll understand, because we have to have understanding, that we are more damaging, we do more damage to our own community than anyone else could ever do to our community. We have to understand that. We have to understand that the damage can't be successful in our community unless we're involved. It won't be successful unless we're involved. If we're involved, then it's successful. If we're involved. But if we don't get involved in damaging our community, right, then there's no damage that can come into our community, whether it be from outside influence or inside influence. I mean that, and then we're going to get onto our subject, but I just want to keep setting the foundation. I mean that in whatever organization we're in, whatever group we're in, or whatever. And another thing, too, we have to understand that it's okay to question our leadership. Another sign of oppression is that we don't question our leadership. But it's okay for us to question our leadership. We need to question it. We need to question our leadership. And the fact that we don't question our leadership spells a major problem, and it's a major snag within our community. So we got to question our leadership, no matter who it is. No one is beyond reproach. No one's beyond reproach. And I say that for a reason, because I know that many people have given Minister Farrakhan a pass. You keep saying, well, why you keep going to Minister Farrakhan? I go to him because he has proclaimed himself as a leader of black people. Who else am I going to go to if I don't go to Farrakhan? I have to go to Farrakhan because he proclaimed himself as a leader to black people. And if you stand in front of us, then you'll have to deal with the fire that we're going to put on you when we ask you questions. You'll have to deal with that fire. And Farrakhan's main obstacle is himself, because he will not yield to talking about the subject of Malcolm's death. He won't yield. And that's one of the main problems that we have. That's one of the main problems that we have. The fact that he won't yield. We need to discuss it. We need to discuss it. But again, the great problem is that he won't yield for the discussion. But we do need to discuss it. Now, there's a book. The book that I'm going to speak from today is the killing. We had the killing of Minister Malcolm X. But we're also going to use the killing of the messenger, the poisoning of the messenger. Right? So it's important to note that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was induced with a double dose of oil treatment of cortisone pills for asthmatic bronchitis, which was poisoning his system and causing mental delirium. In short, Mr. Muhammad was being poisoned and assassinated, and Minister Louis Farrakhan has alluded to this in many of his speeches concerning the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Why not keep him in a drier climate, such as his residence in Arizona, which was much better for his health? Why hasn't Minister Louis Farrakhan ever initiated an investigation in the death of Mr. Muhammad? This is the question you most certainly should be asking yourself. As a question, we should have that question. We have to research. We have to research the dangers of corticosteroids. The corticosteroid drug, including cortisone, hydrocortisone, and prednisone, are useful in treating many conditions such as rashes, inflammatory bowel disease, and asthma. But these drugs also carry a risk of various side effects. Okay, so and understand this. I say again that while Minister Malcolm was the target, the destination was the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Elijah Muhammad is putting out this information that is building leaders. He's building leaders, moral leaders within the community. He's building moral leaders within the community. And we have to understand. We have to understand that with these leaders being built, and even the words, because the dedication of the epilogue, the work, and the in-depth behavioral historical research that we did, the work was dedicated to Minister Malcolm's family because of them, the information that they put out, we were able to form, right, the actual timeline to said events. The actual timeline to said events from the time that Minister Malcolm came out of prison, changed his way of thinking, educated himself. He did that stuff on his own. Then his brother brought him the information about the Nation of Islam. His brother gave him the information about the nation. And then from that point, Minister Malcolm was writing the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad letters, and they were writing each other letters back and forth to be able to gain this information. The expectations of the nation, his expectation. Malcolm was asking the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad what expectations he had of him. But let's be clear. We know who killed Minister Malcolm, but who were the hands? Because I'm not going to get into anything other than that. We already know who killed him. But who were the hands involved? Who were the hands? We know who killed him, but who were the hands on both sides? Who was the puppet? Who was the puppeteer? Who was the puppeteer? And who was the puppet on both sides? Now, again, the white man is never going to put anyone in front of us. Anyone in front of us that is not useful for him. Al Sharpton, before he got his position of respectability today, for instance, he was a drug dealer and a drug informant. These are facts. These are facts. As a matter of fact, they use him to keep James Brown on drugs. Oh, you guys don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear that. That's the truth. That's the truth. Al Sharpton was a drug dealer and a drug informant, posing as a conscious individual. He would do anything for money. They used him to keep James Brown on drugs and to get women that were using drugs. That's a fact. That's a fact. Now, he's rewarded today. Let me be careful with you because that's something I gotta wait. I gotta wait for the later show. But let me say he's rewarded for today for the work that he did yesterday. He's rewarded today for the work that he did yesterday. I want to read this right quick because we're trying to pack these shows in. and so you would have the proper information. Let me say this to you. In part 1 of Who Killed Minister Malcolm X and Why Was He Killed? In this preface, as a Muslim and follower of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I've struggled heavily to make sense of the killing of Minister Malcolm to no avail. Who could better answer the question of who killed Minister Malcolm and why was he killed if not his wife? According to Sister Dr. Betty Shabazz, killing Minister Malcolm was seen by many Muslims as a badge of honor. What's more, Louis Farrakhan, an adjutant and protege to Minister Malcolm X, who declared his love for Minister Malcolm in one breath, praised Minister Malcolm X killers once they assassinated him before his wife and children in another breath. Again I say, Black Muslims pulled the trigger that took the life of our brother in broad daylight before his wife and children, who sat unguarded in the audience. Minister Malcolm was killed without, I say again, without the approval of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I repeat, it can be proven that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was not involved. I can say with a surety, we have the facts now by federal affidavit that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad had nothing to do with the assassination of Minister Malcolm X. He forbade the attack against Minister Malcolm X and his family. He sought to restore Minister Malcolm, but rogue NOI and FBI had other plans. Also, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad sent out alarms out to Minister Malcolm X before the assassination to speak of the coup d'etat, federal infiltration taking place in the Nation of Islam. The rift was by deliberate federal design to disguise 6 CIA agents and six CIA informants. Among them were Gordon Parks, who served as Minister Malcolm X's photographer, Wallace Waruddin Muhammad, the son of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and Gene Roberts, who served as Minister Malcolm X's private personal bodyguard, as well as 6 FBI agents. Among them, Waruddin Muhammad, otherwise known as Minister Wallace Muhammad, Louis Eugene Walcott, otherwise known as Minister Louis X. Farrakhan, Gordon Parks, the NOI press secretary, John Ali, Captain Joseph Youssef, and others, whose job was to create division, a rift between the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his beloved minister, Minister Malcolm X, as well as redefine the teachings of the Nation of Islam and the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We will discuss fully in part 3, the book, part 3 is being written now. Who killed Minister Malcolm X? Why was he killed? The epilogue and in-depth behavioral historical research. We will also discuss Minister Louis X. Farrakhan and Malik Zulu Shabazz, the rise, fall, and the assassination of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. You see, these are things that you should be asking yourself, brothers and sisters. And we have the books on this. We have the books for this knowledge. We have the very books for this knowledge. So the answers that you want could be the answers that you're getting. Now, I say again, and I want you to understand this. There's nobody in front of you that's black, that's a so-called liberation leader, that has not been put there by the white man. Louis Farrakhan is not a threat to anyone. He's no threat. He's no threat. He's lived well. He lived a long time. How do you live that long? How do you live that long as a quote-unquote black nationalist, black Muslim? Live long, and now you good with Jews, and I'm just saying, you should get along with people if you can. But my point is, the beginning doesn't justify the end. The end doesn't justify the means. How do you live that long? Right? I mean, I'm just asking the question. You're supposed to be a black nationalist, supposed to be a black fighter of right, and America will kill everybody else, including babies on the street, and let you live. I don't understand it. Excuse me, brothers and sisters, and there's only one answer to that. There's only one answer. There's only one way that an individual could live that long quote unquote, as a freedom fighter or liberator, and not. You got to use your head. I'm encouraging you to use your brain. Use your brain today. Don't let people think for you. Think for yourself. You think for you. You think for you. Don't let anyone else think for you. You think for yourself. And your mind will tell you that something's wrong. Your mind will tell you that he's no threat to anyone. Farrakhan is no threat to anyone. That's the reason why he's been around so long. Because he's no threat. When you're not a threat, you'll be around a long time. Nobody's worried about you because they know you're not going to do anything. So why would they be worried? You got to understand that. I understand it. I understand exactly what's going on, but you got to understand it. You should understand what's going on. Because when you understand what's going on, then you know the trouble that you're in as a people. Because our problem is we have leaders of late that have no, they teach us and get us involved in thinking that has no relationship, doesn't have any relationship as to who we are. No relationship to what we must be doing. We don't have it. We don't have it. We don't have any relationship with who we are as a people. And the so-called leaders that we have in front of us are not teaching that. So we have between us a great job to do. Isn't that right? Our job is to put leaders in front of us that are concerned, because we have to have that. They have to be concerned about the people. Not a leader that's concerned about himself, but a leader that's concerned about the people. And I'll be honest with you, there's not very many of us concerned about us. It's all about the amount of money that we can make. That's what it's come to. The amount of money that we can make. That's what it's come to. I'm telling you that we have to get beyond that. We got to get beyond that. That's not our end. That's not our end. We got to get beyond that. God has other plans for us. God does. He has other plans for you and I. But we've got to get beyond that. Right? It can't be about us. And most Judases that betray the black community, that's the reason why the black community fails. The black community failed because they're concerned with them. They're concerned with their own image. Not concerned about us. They're concerned with their own self. And that's dangerous. That's dangerous. We have to get to the place, brothers and sisters, that we're so concerned about the black community that we'll give ourselves for it. That's the example of a leader. Our lives are not promised to us. Our lives are not promised. We're not promised tomorrow. We're not promised tomorrow. Our lives are not promised to us. Right? So we've got to have some intelligence and some wisdom to understand and to accept that we won't get anywhere, we won't make any advances or anything like that until we get into the mind of what it means to be a community. It'll never happen for us. It won't happen. We've got to get together and get in the mind of what it is to be a community. We have to learn to embrace teachings that are uncomfortable to us. I know that many of us are tired and sick of fighting. I understand that. But just because you're tired and sick of fighting don't mean that the war is over. Doesn't mean that the battle's going to stop because you're tired. What's tiring you out is listening to these leaders with these good and happy teaching. A lot of them are happy. A lot of them are happy with these happy teaching philosophies. They can't even get angry because they're too happy. Always smiling about something. Too happy. Don't want to, it's too difficult. I know it is. Too hard to focus on the truth. That's why you got so many people on drugs. So many people on alcohol. Right? So many families that are breaking up. So many people on illicit sex. Not building any foundation. No foundation being built. You can't build foundation in those areas. Right? Unless you're looking at longevity. You can't drink long term. It has an effect on the body. You can have illicit sex long term without setting a foundation for a relationship. It won't last. You can't do drugs long term because it will destroy the body. But you can build your mind to accept what's happening in front of you, and you can't accept truth. You and I have to do that. We've got to accept truth. And guess what? We're not right all the time. No one is right all the time. But together, iron can sharpen iron. Together, we can make things happen together. In unity, there is strength. We can make things happen together. You and I can. You and I, we can do this together. We can't do it separately, but we can certainly do it together. And so this tidbit that I put out to you is a very, very strong point. Don't forget that you can get these books. Who Killed Minister Malcolm X? I'm going to do that because we're going to come back very shortly to continue this. Who Killed Minister Malcolm X? And why was he killed? Put that in there. And we have 4 books on that. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you can get those. And then we have another one. You'll be very, very interested in this. We have another one. Who Killed the Messenger? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Who Killed the Messenger? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So there's some things that, let's see, we got, let's put that one down too. Who Killed the Messenger? The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You were so caught up on Minister Malcolm that you didn't know that the whole thing was to get to, you weren't trying to get to the tree, only you was trying to get to the root. The root of the problem that America had is with the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That is the root of the problem that America had. So we got those books. I'm gonna go out and then come back to you again, brothers and sisters, because I want to keep that time. There's some other individuals that wanted to get that live that hadn't had an opportunity, but we're gonna go over that to get into our other show. So I'll see you actually in 8 minutes. See you in another 8 minutes. Thank you very much, brothers and sisters. We appreciate you. And by the time you cut it off and cut it on, I'll be back again. And we're trying to get all this information out. Besides, I want some brothers and sisters to be ready for Ramadan. And you got to go there with a clear mind. So I've given you some stuff to pray for so that you'll have the right spirit and right mind, because we certainly need that. Need the right spirit and the right mind when we go on to do this work and to live this life. We got to have the right spirit and the right mind, brothers and sisters. So I'm thankful to you. And we got some work to do together, you and I. We have great work to do. Some great work to do. I can't wait to get involved and do that work with you. And I'm going to be working diligently. I ask you to support us. Please support us, support what we're doing. And we're going to keep this steady pace up in front of you. Everything that the Black Nationalist Network is asking us to do, we're going to do it because they're very helpful to me and have kept me on this side, kept me relevant, and I appreciate that because I've caused some trouble and continue to catch some trouble, but thank Allah, God, that the worst of it is behind me. And so now I'm able to push forward and really do the work for the Black community and the work for Allah. And brothers and sisters, remember, you're responsible for your wives, you're responsible for the children that you produce. Always do the right thing. You may not be there with them, but still do the right thing. Always do the right thing. And the woman that you have, take care of her. Brother or sister, same thing with you. Same thing with you. Be responsible to the children and the man in your community. And the main thing is unity, to always stay together and have some respect, some understanding amongst one another. That's very, very important. And remember, you can do all things through God Allah who will strengthen you. For it says, if my people will call by my name, will humble themselves and pray, seek thy face, turn from thy wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and heal their land. I like to say unto you, peace be unto you. If I didn't say it in the beginning, I'm saying it now. Peace be unto you, brother and sister. Assalamu alaikum.